Is 19 Crimes one of the smartest wine brands created, or just a very good gimmick? Hello and welcome to Beyond the Label with me, Chabatot, and my co-host on this mini-series, Caitlin Smith, founder of The Happy Wine. Before we go down under, I have to remind you to please subscribe to both of our channels. Let's taste some Aussie juice, eh? Hello, hello. Hi.
Good afternoon. Good morning for me. Let's talk about some convict juice, shall we?
Yes, convict juice. Yes, that's what it is. Yes, so we are talking about 19 Crimes. This is the bottle I have.
Let's talk about the label first of all, because it's quite so, even not even the label, we can back up a foot, talk about the name. Because maybe it could be that there are listeners who don't know the origin of the name. So this is under the Treasury Wine Estates, giant branding. I think I've lost track how many brands are under them. But that being said, they came up with this concept to celebrate the 19 crimes, which used to be for criminals. They either had to walk or death. And there were 19 crimes that were on said list. And so if they walked, they got on a boat and went all the way over from the UK all the way to Australia.
Yes, how bad was it for them? In hindsight, they made the right decision, I think. But anyway, that's just me.
Yes, exactly. But you know, I mean, you weigh your pluses and minuses. I got a chance to go over there in the middle of nowhere. I may as well take my chances and see what happens. But that being said, which from a brand positioning, genius. I have to say it's genius, because look at the label. It's also, for our listeners who may not know, these are actual photos of convicts from the past, and they change the labels every so often. It's very sleek, black and white, so it looks like a mugshot. And the mugshot old wanted posters that you used to see in the Wild West. And they also have like red accents. So it's black and white, very bold. It's very photographic, very, let's just say, Instagrammable, gifting. It's fun. There's a great story behind it. And maybe they also might not know who was one of the major celebrities who backed this was Snoop Dogg. And when Snoop Dogg, in the US especially, when Snoop Dogg came on board as one of their brand ambassadors, the sales went through the roof in the United States.
Yeah. It is one of those brand stories which I often wonder if the wine world should lean into these more, because sort of humanizes the wine itself. Somebody, a big name, and I'd say a reputable name, stand behind it, and creates a sort of a co-brand, almost like a co-brand with a big label.
Agreed. And they made this for mainstream drinkers. This wasn't made to be put away and keep it for 25 years and call your wine club snooty friends and, you know, we're going to open it in 25 years. No, this is meant to be enjoyed now. And so that being said, what about the style? What's your take on the style?
As I said, I haven't tasted this for a long time, and I'm not expecting too much joy from this.
So here's the thing. They made, like what I just said, they made this to be enjoyed. It's supposed to be approachable. It's supposed to be mainstream. What does mainstream mean? Oaky, but not too oaky. Fruity, but not too fruity. More jammy than anything. And I remember this, I'm dating myself, but I'm going back like 20 odd years. When I started first drinking wine with my friends, this was the style of wine that I would drink. Barbecues, parties, bring a red, everybody's happy. It's a crowd pleaser.
Yes, I was going to say this is one of those wine brands which actually brings in the non-wine drinker into the party, because it's easy to understand. It's usually a little bit sweet as well. It has a bit of that sort of overripe sweetness coming through.
If I'm not mistaken, it's around like 12 grams of residual sugar per liter. So if I can compare that for some folks tuning in, if you like extra brut champagne, it's half. Or I should say it's double what an extra brut champagne would be, even triple, depending. It's average 12 grams. So it is on the sweetie side. And I don't remember the alcohol percentage. It has to be, my guess, it has to be 14.
12 and a half.
Why did I think it was higher?
I don't know, because this style would require a little bit higher with that sort of jammy fruit.
To be fair, because of where it's from in Australia, they do get that hotter, drier climate, so they can get jammy faster and pick earlier and still maintain the acidity. Excellent. Good on 12.5. That makes me happy, actually, because a little easier to drink. You could tone down the sweetness a little bit by chilling it a little bit. It will feel less jammy, but that ripeness will still be there on the palate.
I have to admit, I really wanted to rip this apart as well, but it's actually not that bad at all. It's not going to be one of your wines where you always remember this, unless because of the label.
Correct.
The liquid in the bottle is actually fairly balanced.
It's not too tannic.
It's a crowd pleaser.
Very much. It has massive appeal, but it lacks depth to it. But again, we already said it's meant to be fun, fruity, jammy. It's a little over manipulated, but that's the style that they're making.
That's it. The big question is this wine selling the story or hiding behind the story? Because I think I know it's all about storytelling and everything.
It is.
They picked a good story and put the juice into the bottle. And I think the story is more important than the juice itself.
I have to agree. The story is more compelling. The story sold me. I remember, like I said, I remember when it was launched, it was mid-2000s. It's around 2012. So think about that. Since 2012, how big this brand has become. And it's still relevant.
Yes. I wanted to buy the Snoop Dogg version of it, but it's Californian. And I thought, okay, let's do an Aussie instead. But price-wise, where is it positioned in the US?
So depending on where you find it, you could find it, again, if there's a special, it could be around $15, sometimes $13, sometimes $18. But it's always less than $18. What about in the UK?
I bought this for £11, which is very much the same thing. It's like $15.
I think that's a great price, price value compared to other wines that we've had. What do you think?
I really wanted to talk shit about this, but it's actually a decent wine. I have to say I'm positively surprised because last time I drank it, I felt, oh God, this is so sweet. I might have had a different version. And I thought, oh, this is so sweet. I can't believe people can drink this. But this is actually very drinkable.
So that being said, brand / messaging, what would you give it? On what 1 to 5? And we're allowed halves. No 3/4, no quarters, but halves.
Yes. That was your rule. What we're doing, the branding,
the brand.
Right?
Yeah. What would you give the brand?
I'm not particularly enthusiastic about the brand itself, but what a brand should do, communication-wise, people remember it. It has a massive footprint. I have to say it's a very strong brand. I think it's recognized everywhere. I'll probably give it 4.5. I really don't want to, but I have to.
No, you have to. And I would have fought you on that one. If you were less than 4.5, I'd be like, come on, you have to. Like, I find it very rare that you find a brand that ticks all the boxes. Do you know what I mean? That's how you said it's very strong from a brand perspective. Now let's flip over to the juice side. Wine quality. Go ahead.
Before we come on to record this, and before I drank it, I really wanted to give it 2.5 already. Like, I thought this is gonna be absolute crap.
I know. See, preconceived notion. I'm glad you're saying this.
But I do have to say, price quality ratio, it did surprise me. It did surprise me, and it's painful as it is, but I'm gonna give it 3.5. I think it's a decent enough wine.
Again, this is interesting because our other podcasts, we were always a little off agreeing on something. I agree as well. 3.5.
Okay, this is the most boring podcast ever. I think
we're talking about convicts and murderers, and we're being boring.
Yes, convicts, murderers, high scores.
Please don't come after us. Yes, well, then that makes it an even 4. Overall, that makes it an even 4, which I think is quite bang on.
So that means, actually, if somebody's ever wanted to try this for the price, whatever, it's $15 in the US or $11 in the UK.
10 to 15 in the US, depending on where you find it. And Like, I'm still sitting in my brain on 12.5%. That's a big, for me, that's a big deal. Like the fact that they're still able to manage 12.5%, which awesome.
Oh, maybe they are criminals and they just fake it. I don't know. Who knows? You're not gonna go wrong with this wine, especially if you have friends who are not so good friends and don't want to give them too good wines. Buy something like this, and then it's cool.
Or you're going to a really big party and bottles are just going to be all over the place on the table, but you want to bring a little something, bring that. Especially in the summer for a cookout, chill it a little bit. Everybody will really enjoy it.
Yeah, I have to say, hats off for the producer, and I'm ashamed of myself that I had preconceptions about this wine before we even started. But yeah, this is how it is.
That's how it is. And that's why it's so much fun to have these conversations, because you may have walked through the door thinking, like you said, 2.5. And then, see, you came around.
My usual question is, if this wine would be in a different bottle, you wouldn't know the story, and they asked the same price, would you say you happy with it, or is it just a little bit too much?
Here's the thing. I think of other Australian brands quality-wise along the same level, and I would be just as happy with that juice, let's say, as other big mass-produced Australian brands. But that being said, the fact that there's this story and the label behind it, that's what people will remember and talk about. Be like, you go to a party and if someone who's not big into wine, they're gonna look really cool because they're showing up with this bottle that has Snoop Dogg, and they have the story to tell, and then it engages people, and then it creates a conversation.
Certainly helps bringing new people into the wine world. It's a neat encouragement because you see the label, there is a bit of story, the wine is decent enough, that extra little bit of sweetness helps, and that's it.
There's nothing wrong with it. It like you said, you didn't want to like it because it's not your type of wine, but took your personal opinion out, and it tasted like, okay, I can't really diss it that badly.
Hang on, I still don't like it. Don't put
I didn't
words
say
into
that.
my mouth. Yeah.
I didn't say you liked it, but you came around a little bit.
Try to be realistic about this, and I think it's solid 4 overall. I think it's fine.
It is a solid 4. I agree. Our next wine is also another brand that we will be discussing. So everyone will have to stay tuned.
Exactly. And subscribe. Press that little bell button.
And actually, a good question for our viewers. Have you tried this wine? Do you like it? If you haven't, after watching our YouTube or listen to podcast, do you want to try it now? Let us know.
See you next week, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.